You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Thanks so much for joining in. Guys, really excited about today's episode. We've got a really special guest on the line. We got none other than the man, Jared, with JC Tips. What's going on, Jared? How you doing, brother?
Good, Brian. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's let's see. It's a late Monday night. You and I are, it's always tough to find time when you're trying to do interviews because everybody's busy going 100 miles an hour. And I was shooting you some messages back and forth on Instagram, and I told my wife we were out to dinner, and I said, "Hey, Jared said he's available at 8:30. You want to make this happen?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's scarf down the food." So I ate fast, and I took the rest of the food to go, and I said, "Here we go. Let's get on the board and make sure we don't miss this opportunity." So wanted to just say thanks for jumping on the podcast with us, man. It's great to have you.
I appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to it.
This is going to be good. Well, we're going to talk a lot about social media. We're going to talk about your business, your kind of a breakout, star, I'd say, with a lot of what you got going on with lawn care and landscaping. For those of you that are living under a rock and don't know my boy here, JC Tips on YouTube and Instagram, he's got things going on, and he's a young gun. It's, again, when I put this whole list together of people that I wanted to do some interviews with, I wanted to also incorporate some of the younger guys because, awesome for, a 33-year-old old fart like me, right? All the success with YouTube, all the success with business. And, I don't say that, that's what people say. But at the end of the day, my most excited career, part of my career was that first 10 years from, I'd say like 19 to 20 or 19 to 30 years old. And so you're kind of, you speak to that audience, man, though, that 18 to 25-year-old crowd. I know a lot of folks that are older can learn from you. So I'm really excited about having you on as a guest, is why I say all that. So before we go down the rabbit hole and we start unpackaging your story a little bit, why don't you give everybody who maybe doesn't know who you are, maybe just 30, 60 second snapshot of who you are, your business, where you live, and all those fun stats.
Absolutely. So my name's Jared Crouse. I'm from Wisconsin. I service the Milwaukee area, which is southeastern Wisconsin, and I've been doing lawn care since I was about 13. I'm currently 19 years old, and I have about 40 clients, give or take, both residential and commercial, mainly residential. And we do, a little bit of everything, like lawn care, landscaping, trimming, things like that. The only thing I don't really do is, too much snow removal and, the fertilizing side of that kind of stuff. But that's basically what I do, now. And that's kind of the backstory to me and kind of how I started.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, again, you're 19, you're making it happen. I kind of lump you into the group with like the Christian Schlegels with CNI Services, the Carson Shifskys, the Evans Landscape, the Stetz Lawn Cares, a bunch of you young guys, man, that are just tearing it out of the frame. And I'm a big cheerleader, man. I love seeing other guys succeed and make it. You guys keep me sharp. You guys inspire me to continue to grow my business with all of your enthusiasm and energy that you guys have. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll hear from the announcements, and then we'll dive into your story.
Have you ever thought about starting your own lawn and landscaping business, but not sure where to start? Look no further than Lawntrepreneur.com, an e-training website dedicated to helping you start and grow a successful lawn care business. Save more time and make way more money by learning exactly what it takes to grow your business to the next level. Invest in your future by first investing in yourself. Use promo code PODCAST to save 10% on all training programs today at Lawntrepreneur.com. Now, back to the show.
All right, Jared. So let's get into your story, man. I'm really excited about this. I don't want to ad lib or waste too much time. So you got started in the industry. You were saying at 13 years old you started your business. Why don't you?
That's correct. That was before it was an official business, but it is push mowing lawns and things like that. Starting out like I think like just about everybody started it out. I started in my neighborhood. And really started with my next door neighbor. He was older, needed somebody to cut his lawn, and it was between me and my brother to take care of it. And I started doing it a lot more. Next thing you got more neighbors wanting stuff done, and I'm like, I like what I'm doing, and I can actually make money doing this. Like keep talking. I like what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
And I started getting more into it, and I was able to, go out to my grandparents, that kind of thing, mow with their tractor. I'm like, I could ride on the mower for an hour and get paid for this. I really liked the whole concept of it. I was starting to understand, just the basics of a business. Like, wow, somebody's going to pay me to do a service.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, I started seeing the need for things like that. So I got some business cards made up. It was JC's Lawn Service at the time. And that's kind of what got it started. But to backpedal a little bit, I want to go back to when I was 8 years old. When I was 8 years old is actually kind of when I started a little bit, believe it or not. So this is all going to make sense in just about a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
But we needed a roof on our house, and my dad is he's a DIY guy. He's built houses and things like that when he was younger. And we ended up doing it ourselves, and we started getting more and more into the roofing stuff. So we've done a lot of roofing on the side. So that's where I kind of got my work ethic from. I've been roofing houses since I was 8 with him on the side here and there, that kind of stuff. But where this all kind of goes into play is when I was 8, I saw a need for gutter cleaning. So I marketed it in the neighborhood, got these little cards made up, and punched a hole with a rubber band on the corner of that thing.
Yeah.
And did gutter cleaning for $5. Well,
okay.
There's obviously no money in that, but it was just the first little kind of entrepreneur thing. And then, I got smart and raised the prices up, and we still offer gutter cleaning to this day. But that was kind of the first start of things before I started getting into lawns at 13, 14 years old there. But yeah, going back to the lawn part, that's, I started that at 13. And like I said, we did a couple neighbors and that stuff. And I started marketing with the business name JC's Lawn Service, and went from there and kind of passed my cards out to a lot of people. The most successful thing for me has been magnetic business cards, and I've kind of been going with those from the beginning. It allows people just to not throw your card in the drawer. It's actually going on their fridge where they might see it or somebody will see it when they need something.
Yeah.
And that's been very helpful for me for, getting the phone to ring, or, getting people to email me, text me, call me, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So that's been helpful that way. And we've done a lot over the years. We've definitely grown because I started, I'd say when I was 13, I just had that one neighbor. And then the next year we had, 5 lawns, and we started getting outside of the neighborhood. We had family friends that needed stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just, you take on whatever you can get. You don't worry about the route density at first. That's one thing I wish I would have focused on. I took on jobs that were 20 minutes away and, ate up a lot of my time, and they were $25 cuts, and we're there with a push mower for an hour, just to do it. But
I think we've all started that way or been there in that boat. So you're not the only one. Good lesson to learn at 15 years old, so.
Exactly. So I'd say at about 14 years old, 15, I'd say 14, I had about 5 customers, and that was me and my brother on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're out there all day push mowing 5 lawns. It was a great day when we got a second push mower. One could push mow the front, one could push mow the back. I've never seen something so productive, but it's just, the evolution of equipment and things like that. It's super cool to look back on. I think I started with, just my parents' equipment, and then my neighbor, he had passed away, unfortunately, and their family gave me his equipment to use. So that's kind of what started it all. And I used that equipment to, buy newer equipment that was, more reliable and things like that. And just kind of, work my way up the ladder like everybody else does.
Yeah.
And then I'd say in my second year, when I was 15, I had about 15 clients, 15 to 20. And that was when I inherited my grandparents' tractor because they had both passed away. I used to mow their lawn and stuff like that. And I then had a tractor, so I was able to mow lawns a lot quicker. I bought my enclosed trailer at 14. It was a 6x10.
What?
And
that's awesome.
Use that. Yeah. So, it's funny. I look back at it, most people my age are thinking about video games and sports and things like that.
Totally. Yeah.
I remember being, my summer, my 8th grade year into my freshman year of high school, I bought a 6x10 enclosed. So that was a big move for me, something I'd wanted for a few years. And we did that and towed it with my parents' Astrovans. I think being 14, 15 years old, I obviously don't have my license or anything like that. So my parents ended up driving me around until my brother could get his license.
Okay.
And my brother drove us around. And we did, 15 lawns at the time.
Wow.
So it was pretty good. Made a weekend out of it. It was a lot of work balancing that with school and stuff like that. It could be a little challenging at times, but as long as it was a nice sunny weekend, no rain, we could knock it out between the two of us. And at one point I had, 4 people working with me, and they're just friends, nothing.
Yeah, buds,
or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. But that worked out, and we've progressed over the years. When I was, that next year when I was also still 15 at the time, I bought my first zero turn, and that's when I really got to see the productivity side of things. Going from a 22-inch push mower to a 42-inch tractor to then a 50-inch zero turn on just these residential lots. We went from being on a property, with an hour to a push mower to a half hour with a tractor, and now we're down to like 20 minutes with a zero turn with some trimming and blowing and stuff. It's like you see the productivity, and it's valuable.
Well,
so.
That's an incredible little timeline there. Like, for real. I always tell people, like, you got to watch these 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, like I call you kids, but, you're a young man now, but it's just exciting because, yeah, dude, I was 10, 12, 13, 14 years old. I had my push mower, but then I went and worked for Little Caesars, and I got a big boy job. I was, making $7 an hour is such a step backwards. It's not even funny, and, I see the success that you guys have, and I'm like, man, I wonder where I'd be if I would have just kept on, and, maybe just had that foresight to, keep with the business, you know what I mean? But, so in this timeline, you're what, 13 to about 19 years old. Where are you at with, buying your first zero turn? Were you about 16, 17, 18, or when did you get all that?
I bought my first zero turn June 2nd of 2015, and it was just a little Toro time cutter 50-inch.
Yeah.
And it did it for me until late fall of 2016 is when I bought my first, commercial zero turn, and I was like, whoa, we're getting into the big leagues now. Gravely Pro Stance stand-on mower, which is that was a big upgrade, and I did so much research on it. I really wanted the standard for how versatile it was, and all this stuff. Watching a lot of guys on YouTube, a lot of things on Instagram, just all over social media, and just learning, the different types of mowers, the different things each, piece of equipment offers. I think doing your research is a huge thing, especially when you're spending that kind of money on a mower. So I think that can be very, very valuable to look into that stuff before you fork up that big amount of money, because at the end of the day, it's your money that you worked hard for. You might as well make it, worth it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the goal was.
Well, let me ask you this, because, there's going to be younger folks, of course, listening to the podcast, and then, of course, old farts like me. But are you? Let me ask you this. And you can say yes, you can say no right or wrong answer, but I think I know the answer. So nothing was given to you. None of this success that you have was because mommy and daddy gave it to you, silver spoon. Living at home is kind of like, a prerequisite, when you're 15, 16. So I think you get a pass on that one. That we're not counting that, but you've worked hard for this, is what I'm trying to say. I've seen your come up. I've watched a lot of your Instagram stories, and dude, you're a hustler, bro. Like, I see you out there at 2 a.m. pushing snow. I see you out there, 7, 8 a.m. cutting grass in the summer, wrapping up 8, 9 p.m. at night. Did your parents give you any help, or what's some tips here? And take your time. I know we're talking fast and we're going fast, but slow it down for me a little bit. What was some of your first struggles or getting started with your business, and what's some tips that you can give to some of the young guys that might be in that 15 to 20, 25-year-old crowd that are just getting started? Because you started young and probably with nothing, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's something that I take pride in, is literally starting from the bottom. And I remember being, just push mowing. I can remember it literally like it's yesterday, loading up push mowers into the back of the van and this and that. And I'm like, one day it's going to pay off. One day I'll have a truck, I'll have a trailer, I'll have a zero turn. It starts as a vision. You're like, I don't know when it's going to happen, but one day it'll happen. It just, I never had anything handed to me. I've worked hard for everything that I had. Sure, little things here and there, like my neighbor giving me that push mower. My grandparents, when they had passed away, inheriting that tractor and that trimmer that they had, that kind of stuff. And that, I'm grateful for that. I really am. And it's all played a part in getting me where I am today. But I think overall, I've done most of the work myself, between me and my brother, and, everything. We've put a lot of work, or I put a lot of work into this, because, it's my company, and he's been working with me and stuff, but it's been a long journey. There's a lot to it. I think the biggest thing for me is, seeing the process, starting with a push mower, working your way up to a tractor, you slowly upgrade. The biggest thing I stress to everybody that always asks me questions, about, business and things like that, is that it's not going to happen overnight unless your parents have a lot of money and they're willing to, buy you this, equipment and things like that. That's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do take, like I said, a lot of pride in starting out from the bottom, because you can look back on it and you can see, like, I did this, and I just think that's the coolest thing ever, being able to, look back and see what you built. At some points you're like, is there really that light at the end of the tunnel? And then as you slowly progress, things just happen. One of my favorite things is I can remember a video from Keith Kelfis probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And he's in his trailer and he's, looking at it and he's like, one day you're just going to look back on this and you're going to be like, how the heck did all this stuff get here? You start with an empty trailer and before you know it, you can't even fit anything in it. And I was just doing that today. I was out in the shop cleaning some stuff up and I'm like, how do we have so many mowers now? How do we have, 3 trailers? How do we have, 2 trucks? It's like, it's just all, it's amazing to me. And it just happens. And I think when I was younger, I thought there was some sort of secret to it, like, okay, what's the secret? What's got to happen? It's just, it comes with time. It's whatever God's plan is for you, how it's going to pan out. Everybody's businesses are different. I don't think my business is anything spectacular compared to, yours or compared to other bigger businesses. We are all at different stages of the game, different, stages of the race. I think it's all cool. Everybody has their own individual story.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. The whole process is.
I can totally agree to that, by the way. And one thing I'll echo is that's kind of why I do YouTube anyway. Like I love I've said this and now everybody says it and whatever, but I say I'm documenting my life. I'm not here to impress anybody with my life. I'm documenting. And if I can document it with some great tips and some fun videos and we're vlogging and we're doing the deal, well, that, it's great entertainment, of course, but, I'm going to look back at, the 600 videos I made, 2 years from now, 5, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, maybe they'll be in hologram format. I don't know.
Right.
But I also want to show this to my kids. I want to say like, hey, this is what daddy did, this is what, the lifestyle that we have.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I think it's so normal. And, a lot of people are still turning the curve with like, do I point the camera out or in? Like, should I even do YouTube or should I document my life? Should I get Instagram? I mean, Facebook is normal, but it wasn't a thing 10 years ago to like document your life, to be on Instagram, on Insta what? It's like, I miss that. I miss that first 10 years of my business. And like I said earlier, that was the most exciting, phase of my business was the first 10 years. I call it the suck phase. Everything sucked. My equipment sucked. My business mindset sucked. My skill sets sucked. Everything stunk, and it was just cutting my teeth. Right. And what took me a decade, is taking guys like you 1, 2, 3 years. Now I'll say this, like, you guys are able to consume so much content from YouTube, and I know it enhances what you guys do. But one thing that a lot of people, I want to make sure that I acknowledge you and your peers is give you guys the time of day, is that you can't just buy in, like you said. It takes hard work. Like your parents can give you a 0-turn or buy you a skid steer for crying out loud. But dude, it takes hard work to do what you guys are doing and to have the businesses that you guys have, which would impress a 30-year-old. So kudos to you guys, man, I think you hit the nail on the head. One of the secrets is still hard work,
Right. I appreciate that. And it's 100% true. Like you hit that right on the head too, with they can give you whatever you want, but it's up to you to put in the work to make something happen with it.
It's up to you.
Come out of it.
Yeah, it's up to you guys to get up at 3 a.m. and go, plow 5 inches of snow. It doesn't matter if you get a old, crappy truck or a $60,000 rig. It's you can have everything 100%. Given to you. You know what I mean? And if you're not out there earning it, it ain't going to do anything for you. Well, let me ask you this. One question I have that I know a lot of young people are going to want to know, and I just selfishly want to know is where are you at with school and college? Are you going to take the business full time? Are you going to go to school? No right or wrong answer. Just curious to hear your thoughts, because it's a different world today, man. Like 10 years ago, if you didn't go to college, they didn't say it this way, Jared, but basically you were going to be a loser. And
right. Nope, I hear you.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys still get that same rhetoric, from your peers and your teachers and college professors, if you will. What's your attitude? What's your take on it as a 19-year-old young man in America trying to make this thing happen and seeing the different landscape with the internet today? Where are you at?
here's the way I look at it. I graduated high school back in 2018, and I never went to college, and I didn't plan on it. I never really wanted to. In high school, I was a good student. I wasn't, a 4.0 student, but I, still had A's and B's and National Honor Society and things like that. So, but I was always a hands-on kind of guy. I still am. So I spent a lot of time in our wood shop, in our, metal shop, small engine shop, that kind of stuff. Just tried to absorb that information as much as I can. And I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with, going to a class and listening to a teacher and take notes and take tests and stuff, but that's just not my cup of tea. I never really liked that. So my plan after high school was, to continue the business, I kind of got talked out of it a little bit, and I was leaning more towards going into the trades. I signed up for the local union around here for heavy equipment operating, and it just ended up not working out. I applied and I got in and everything, but after I applied for a job through a company that's very well known around here that friends of ours, know and stuff like that, it just didn't work out. And I think that was God telling me, like, hey, you need to work on your business here. You've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. You can handle more. So, and my brother was another inspiration that really kind of pushed me to continue my business. He goes, you're not out there, you're not just a neighborhood kid cutting lawns with the push mower and the trimmer and stuff like that anymore. You have a truck and a trailer and stuff. You can really do a lot more with just the setup right job. Now. Exactly. So that's kind of why I looked into that more, and I'm like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's make a go of it. See how the first year goes, and just go for it. If it doesn't work out, we always try something else. But I'm like, we'll do it. So that's what I did, and that was last year. And now we're going into it again this year, and it's been probably the best decision ever. I've learned a lot. I think the best part about owning your own business, you can make your own schedule, you pick your own time, things like that. You can choose your own off days. But all that aside, you are your own boss. Like you have to make the final decisions. You have to do the hard work, even when you don't want to. I mean, there's days where I'm like, man, I don't want to go to work today, or I don't want to do this or a certain job, but it's got to get done. I mean, 95% of the time, it's all great, work. I love what I do, but every once in a while you get 1 or 2 jobs. You're like, man, come on, let's just get this done.
I can relate. Sometimes we get those like 10 perfect Michigan days per year, I call it. And, it's like 82, beautiful blue sky, white puffy clouds. You might be listening to this and it's one of those days, that just means you only have 9 left. But anyway, but that's one of those things where, that's tough, man. I'll be honest with you, especially when you're 19, 20. I started my business at 20, and, at 23 years old, it's like beautiful Michigan day, maybe go to the beach, maybe we'll go to the pool. It's tough when you have to force yourself to, put on the work boots, get on the jeans. Let's go mow 18 lawns a day. And all my friends, they're just living the dream. They're just having fun. In my, back then that's how I thought, and I was like, man, I got like equipment and mower payments, but one day I'm going to have this business. One day I'm going to have a 6-figure income. One day, I'm going to call my own shots. And shoot me straight. Do you ever struggle with that at your age, at 19 years old?
Struggling with what's that? Like
seeing your peers, your peers are going to college and they're living it up,
Yeah, absolutely. I get to see the lifestyle that they live, and a lot of it I look at and I'm like, wow, I'm glad I didn't go down that path, and then some of it it's like, wow, it really would be nice to go, be at the beach today, or, be at that water park or whatever. But then it's like, what, the day of work that I put in today, it's going to help me get that much farther in the future. And I can think of a perfect example of that, actually, that now that you mention it. We had back in high school, my senior year, we had a day of school where our basketball team, they were going to state. So we could choose to go see the basketball team play at state, and or we could go home. And that day, just the night before, there's a big windstorm. A bunch of trees came down. I had 3 phone calls for trees down. And I decided, what, I'm just going to make a day of work out of it. And it was a $700 day at work. So I'm like,
nice.
that's when it pays off to, maybe miss out on some of the fun. But at the same time, I think it's important for you younger guys listening right now. You don't want to, get rid of your whole childhood or get rid of your whole, teenhood, adulthood, that kind of stuff. You need to have, you need to, make friends while you're young and things like that. I think that's very important. But also, you can still go out and, work while everybody else is, having fun. I think that's important too.
Totally. I was just going to echo that too. I was, we had Cato, Eric Hernandez on the phone with us earlier on a podcast, and same thing. His son Dylan is like 14, works with him, and I said, "Does Dylan still work with you?" And he goes, "Yeah, we have a limited schedule because he's involved with sports and school, and and he said he doesn't want him to grow up too fast." And I said, "Dude, totally agree. Like, if you're a kid, do kid things, but." Right. But as you get older, like you said, you turn that corner, 18, 19, 20, 25 years old, you got to start taking responsibility for things. And I've always heard like, motivational people and, all these different quotes out there, right? And memes on Instagram. It's like, what do they say? Like, if you want to live like others don't, you got to do what others aren't willing to do, all that stuff, and observe the masses and do the opposite. Well, I'll totally echo what you're saying, dude, because my perspective is that you're setting yourself up for a great future. At 19, 20, 21 years old, these are some super formative years. And again, I'm not digging college. I'll do that on a different episode. So you're not a victim of that because I have some very strong opinions on college. And but I'll just say topically that if you want to go to school to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, I would really hope that if I go to my primary care physician that he's been to college, right? But it's also not for everybody. I was a square peg round hole. I like you were saying, I fidgeted in class. I realized the scheme in my freshman year. I went from 3 9s and 3 6s to 3 3s to 2.0s to, hey, you probably shouldn't come back here anymore. And because I just realized I was kind of buying time. And that's not a permission slip for anybody in school to like, drop out or not do a good job. I think you need to do a good job. It's very important to be accountable and to, finish things strong. And I'm not putting you down if you dropped out or anything, or did drop out. That's not the point. But that's a really important phase where you should do a good job in school, but it shouldn't define you. College shouldn't define you. I think you need those experiences, and that's what I think people go to college to just get kind of claustrophobic. They're like, oh, this is the only thing I'm supposed to do the rest of my life, instead of it, as Gary Vee says, like as a tasting, like a wine tasting, where you try to see what else is out there in your network and you meet some different people in different worlds, something that you wouldn't really see otherwise. So I say all that just to say this, is that why don't you explain to me before we hit record that what you're trying to do? What's your next 2 to 5 year kind of game plan? I know you said that you want to, you have a really good family situation, thank God. And your parents are letting you stay at home, and you're just hauling butt, dude, making money and growing your company hand over fist.
Yeah, I'm trying to, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so being 19, I'm still living at home, and I kind of use that to my advantage. My parents are very supportive of that, and they're like, stay here as long as you want. And obviously I don't want to be 30, 40 years old living in my parents' basement, that kind of thing. But hey, yeah, if I can, and if you guys can while you're young, use that to your advantage, because you're not going to have to pay for, rent on an apartment, pay for your mortgage, things like that. Your expenses are limited. Like right now, all I have to pay for is, like my business insurance, anything that comes with my business. Mm-hmm. And, maybe if I go out to dinner here and there, but usually, even that my parents are, willing enough to cover. And I'm very grateful for that. But, I think, living at home, there's so many advantages, being able to, put your money elsewhere, save for other things, mm-hmm. save for your future. It's less stress on you, I really think. Mm-hmm. And, eventually you're going to want to grow up and, do more and be out of the house and things like that. But I think there's a time and a place for that. And it's different for everybody. I think right now with, people that are in college, the average college students living with their parents till they're, 25, 26 years old. And because mm-hmm. they have so much student debt, that's one of the reasons they don't want to go to college, because of student debt. I think that, living at home, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's kind of become the norm lately with our society and the way how expensive houses are getting, and mm-hmm. Even just an apartment, a low income, or like not low income, but a low end apartment is still mm-hmm. Around $1,000 a month. And in a sense, if you're young, you're just kind of burning that money away. You want to put something towards what you're going to own, or
mm-hmm.
And at least invest in something that's nice if you are going to rent.
Yeah, I tell people, dude, totally 100%. I mean, that's the reason I want to ask that question, is because there's nothing wrong with staying lean, staying at home, keeping your expenses low. Just because even if your business starts to grow, put money in the bank. You don't have to buy the cool $50,000 truck. It's okay to buy buy, an XLT and, put some money in the bank, put 10, 20, 30, 50 grand in the bank. That way, like you said earlier, when you are 25 years old, you have 100 grand, 200 grand in the bank, or whatever. And you can put some money down in a home. You can pay cash for a car. You can, if you meet a wife or a girl and, obviously, and she, maybe she has some student loans or whatever, maybe there's some credit card debt or something like that. At least you guys can, have that not drag over you for 10, 15, 20 years, which I just see so many people in, just kind of, rough financial shape out there because they didn't really think things totally through. But again, it's one of those things where at your age, you have a lot of wisdom. And so that's why I ask you these kind of questions. It's really, really exciting and energizing, like I said earlier, to see you guys being so mature. That's why I wanted to get you on a podcast as just a good example out there that if anybody wants to, learn more and follow you, I think you're a good role model for some of those younger guys. Well, let me do this. I want to just kind of break it up. We'll hear from the announcements again. I want to maybe transition as we come back and talk to you a little bit more. Press in. I want to know more about the kind of work you're doing. You've been doing a lot with hardscapes and landscapes. You got some really good things going on with in the future with pesticide and fertilizer and turf control, turf management. I know you're really excited about. We were just kind of spitballing before this. So let's do this. Let's shake it up. We'll hear from the announcements and then we'll dive right back into things.
Enjoying today's show? Motivated to take your lawn care and landscaping business to the next level? Learn what it takes to grow your lawn and landscaping business today with training and education from the Lawntrepreneur Academy. Get educated with how-tos on mulch installation, plowing snow, aeration and overseeding, and so much more. These training programs are designed to help you save time and make more money with your business. Invest in your future by first investing in yourself. Use promo code PODCAST to save 10% on all courses today at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Now, back to the show.
All right, Jared. So let me ask you this. On that timeline we were talking about, let's pick up from there. So at 18, 19 years old, are you, what are you focusing on right now? Are you doing more hardscaping, landscaping? Are you guys still mowing, or what's running the engine right now for JC's Tips and Landscapes LLC? What do you got going on?
We're still doing a lot more mowing. That's kind of the main thing right now. Mm-hmm. Last year we had around 35 customers. This year we're going to be right at about 40, 41. That's with a new commercial contract that I just picked up with 5 apartment complexes and stuff. So that'll be very good business wise. Mm-hmm. We've focused on a lot of the maintenance side, a lot more mowing, hedge trimming here and there, gutter cleaning, that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to get more into landscaping. This past year, or last year, I should say, I bought a dump trailer. I bought my new F350, well, new to me, 2012 F350. Mm-hmm. And that's helped grow the landscape side of stuff a lot more. And the reason I wanted to get more into landscaping is there's definitely more of a profit margin in it. And I really like to transform properties. I like to, go into somebody's place or somebody's property, mm-hmm. Rip something out and give them something brand new that's going to be there for years to come. And I think, landscaping allows me to do that. The overhead in it really for me isn't too bad right now. And, obviously it gets, can get more as time goes on. But the reason I like doing it, like I said, is for being able to transform somebody's property. And I like the equipment. That's kind of one of the main things is I guess you could say an equipment junkie in a sense, but I'm to a certain extent. I like running equipment. I like learning about equipment, that kind of stuff. So, and it's just, I find it fun, and you can usually get a lot done in just a short amount of time on those kind of projects. But yeah, I'd say right now we're 70-30, mainly mowing at 70%, 30% landscaping. Mm-hmm. And I want to get that up there, but it just comes with time. I need to have, guys that can mow my lawns for me while I'm doing landscaping. But then, of course, you need, more vehicles and things mm-hmm. like that. So it runs into the business owner issues there with that. But it comes with time. And yeah, I think this year I want to focus a lot more on landscaping and stuff. By landscaping, we don't do a ton of, huge projects. I've done small little decorative retaining walls, light grading, some small sod jobs and, grass seed and that kind of stuff. Nothing major like boulder retaining walls and things like that. That's all stuff down the road that I'd like to do with the right equipment and the right knowledge. But I feel like you have to really know what you're doing to get into that game, really know your numbers a lot for, equipment, for materials, making sure that you're making money on it. But the way I look at it too, and I think Stan Genetic put this into a great perspective a couple of years back, is, you can get a landscaping job that's, $3,000 and you can do it in a day. And that's the same as around 30 lawns, and it'll take you a lot longer to get that money. So, and there's pros and cons to it, because you can make that a lot of money, or if you have all the mowers and equipment to do so, you can get out there and mow all your lawns and make just as much. So some people like just doing the lawns. I like doing more, and I see me getting more into the landscape side of stuff over the next few years.
Nice. Dude, I can echo everything you just said. I think you're right on base. I always say I love the landscape guys. I love the hardscape guys. I've talked about this on a couple podcasts, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I love the outdoor living spaces and the brick paver stuff. I was at a Techo Block event about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now, and by the time this podcast comes out, maybe 2 to 3 months. But it was just a really, really good time. And but I'm also looking around and I'm just like, that's $75,000, that's $10,000, that's $2,000,
right?
And I'm just like, I'm doing like the grocery, like supermarket sweep over here, adding this all up, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I need $100,000 before I can even participate in this space. And that's where I came back, and Liz is like, well, you're going to do all that? I go, heck no. I said, I'm totally happy being a mowing maintenance business. So,
right.
But I totally respect the other guys that, are participating in that industry and that part of the industry, because it's beautiful, man. I love I think we have such a unique industry where you can take so much pride in a job well done when it's, you start from nothing, or something that's, distraught or scraggly, like a lawn, or, just a muddy hill, right? Or something like that, or a muddy backyard, and it turns into this beautiful outdoor living space, or, retaining walls. So I can totally echo with what you're saying. I see your Instagram photos all the time. And so I say that because I know you really take pride in what you're doing and what you're building out there,
I appreciate that. Yeah. It's been fun. And like you said, depending on what realm of landscaping you want to get into, the equipment does get very expensive. I'd say right now I'm at the lower end of that. Going forward this year, I want to get into a mini skid steer and that kind of stuff to, better, give me a better variety of services that I can offer to either customers currently or new potential customers that would like to get stuff done. And it's going to allow me to be more productive. But obviously that comes with a cost. The average price of a mini skid steer is $25,000-$30,000. And you got to have the work for it, or know what you're doing to get it there. And I think
and keep it moving.
Exactly, you gotta keep it moving to make you some money. So that's kind of the goal, is to slowly get into some bigger projects as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: while we're on the topic of business and getting business and growing business, what's some, let's say there's some 18, 20, 25-year-old guys out there, there's some young guns like you, they're trying to get up and going, and they're full of spunk, full of energy, they're ready to rock and roll. What's working for you with like how to get customers? What from a marketing standpoint, but then just like a business mindset standpoint, because you're young. And I feel like some young people think it's a hindrance, right? Like, I'm young, nobody takes me serious, and nobody's going to spend $5,000 with me on a landscape job, not compared to the 40-year-old guy with the big truck. And I think it's kind of true, but it was also not true at all, because I started my business at 19, 20 years old. What's some tips that if anybody's listening in that age group that you can give them that has been working out for you to show that you can do the job, to earn the work that maybe your competition is coming out there and they're flexing too, but why does it go to JC and not those guys?
Right, absolutely. I think going back to before, the magnetic business cards have been huge for me. Being in school, I didn't want to take on more than I could, do, because being in high school, my time was limited. I could really only work on the weekends and maybe a little bit after school, but sometimes it gets dark too early. So those are really a good way to go for me. Vistaprint, you get 50 or 60 of them for like $8. You can't beat it. And, that way everybody keeps it up on their fridge. They see it. Maybe they don't need it, but maybe a friend of theirs needs it. They know who to call. They know who to talk to when they need something. Another thing that's been really good for me has been Facebook. A lot of people that are, my parents' age or, older and things like that, they're on Facebook
it's a
all
kind
the
way
time,
of saying
right?
old people.
Yeah, old, young, whatever.
All those 55, all those boomers. Oh, okay, boomer.
Right.
That's good
that's
stuff.
been very successful for me too, is being able to, have a profile that I can show everybody the work that we've done and have, reviews, customers that have used us can put, what they think about us, that kind of stuff. I've just been able to post videos of jobs that we've done, and it's landed me other jobs. There's one video that I can think of in particular that landed me, like a $3,800 job just because this person saw it. And I think that's very powerful. Maybe I just got lucky, but I think that it's been proven to me several times that aspect of it too. So, I think social media has its place for, marketing your company and that too. It just depends on how much you want to grow. I think the reason that somebody may or may not want to choose me over another company is going to be based on experience and potentially price. Being a smaller company, my overhead is going to be a little bit lower than some of these bigger companies, depending on, crew size and equipment and insurance and taxes and things like that. But maybe I could come in at a lower price. That's not something I pride myself on doing. I do try to be, price competitive, but sometimes, depending on the job, you might not know how to price something. And I think, where you can learn that is from other guys on YouTube, other guys that are in the business and that kind of stuff. But I think from a customer perspective, they're going to look at you and, see how professional you are, how you present yourself. And one thing I like to do is I like to, dress up when I go there. I don't need to, be wearing a tux, a suit and tie, that kind of thing. But, dress shoes, khakis, and a polo, with the company name on it. That's how I like to show up. I like to, have business cards or literature that the potential customer or client can look at, and you get to learn a little bit more background information on us. They like to do the whole interview process and get to know me and that kind of stuff, which is great. But you need to be able to present yourself in a way that you know what you're talking about. So if they ask a question, you have the answer or you can get the solution. You don't need to know everything, but you need to learn how to talk to these customers and make them feel comfortable around you, make them feel like they can trust you, so that when they go in their house after you leave, they're like, maybe we can hire this Jared guy and, see what he's capable of, and then all it takes is one person to say yes to you, and then everything goes from there. Now, you're not going to get every job. That's not what I'm saying, but it's going to give you the experience to go forward to other jobs. It might not be the same job, but you're going to use the experiences from that job to, learn more things on the next job. And I think it's just, a spiral effect, and it works for everybody in each favor. But I think, being young, like you said, a lot of people don't trust you. And I'm still at 19. I go to these trade shows and, just want to learn about a piece of equipment, and somebody won't even give you the time of day.
Oh, yeah.
So like I said, you really need to prove yourself, show that you know what you're talking about. And if you're wondering, how do I learn what I need to talk about? I think what you really need to focus on what you want to do, and then just research the heck out of it, and just learn, everything that it needs to be, everything about mowing. Okay, my lawn needs to be cut at 3 inches, or 3.5 inches. Study everything that you can, because, knowledge is powerful. And I think that you're going to be able to present yourself in a way to these customers that they're going to say, I can trust this guy. I think the biggest thing is answering your phone. There's so many big companies that they get so much work, they don't want to take it on anymore. So, best way out of that is just stop answering your phone, right? So if you pick up your phone, that's your first opportunity with the customer. They're going to be like, okay, you're starting off on good terms because you're actually picking up the phone, and get out there in a timely manner. Sure, there's times where you can't get there for 3, 4, 5 days, but if you can get there the same day or the next day, do it. Go for it. Get out there, get after it, and make it happen. I think time is money. And customers, they love, if you can make it quick for them, they're all for it. The quicker you do it. And I've got jobs because of that, and I've also lost jobs where we're out working for 2 days straight, and I can't get the phone back, and I call a customer back, and they were looking for an estimate. It's like, oh, hey, we found somebody else,
Right.
And unfortunately, that happens. But there's also the other side of it where I did answer my phone, and I got jobs, and it leads to other jobs because the neighbor sees your work, and they're calling you because they want stuff done. And I think the whole thing of it's great, and I think it's just going to come with time and patience. You just understand that for all you guys watching, you're not going to get every single job that you bid, but always go into that job looking, like you're gonna win it. I think putting in all of as much effort as you can is going to be the best decision, no matter what.
Dude, I mean, you said more good stuff there in that 5 or 8 minutes than I knew my first 10 years. and I'm totally being serious. Like if you listen to all that and you're busy mowing, that's fine, that's cool. But dude, put a little note in your phone or calendar reminder and go back and listen to what you just said, just that last 10 minutes. Because what you just explained to me was how you make $150,000 a year in 24 months. Like it's not rocket science, but so many people, Jared, in my opinion, they're looking for the secret, right? Everybody's looking for the secret, the silver bullet. Usually it doesn't include work and the silver bullet phenomenon, and that's not, it doesn't exist. And what you just said to me was, when you're younger, and let me just, I got to rant because you just got me fired up, and that's what I need at 10 o'clock at night. Right now, my wife's gonna call you. She's going, "Why'd you get them all fired up at 10?" But here's the deal. At your age, number one, you hit the nail on the head. The great equalizer is good marketing and good social media. Like period, case closed. If you can get the phone to ring versus the other guy, you're already 5 steps ahead, right? And when somebody's looking at a postcard or a magnet or a Facebook ad, and they see Lawnscapes, they don't know that you haven't been in business for a decade. They don't know that you're a 19-year-old punk kid. Punk being a good thing, right? They don't. Right. They think that you might be some 37-year-old contractor who's been doing this for 20 years. So a lot of folks, the younger guys, they at 18, they're like, "Well, I can't compete with the other guys." I'm like, "No, you can't. You don't have the money. You don't have the equipment. But what you should have is hustle. What you should have is the ground game. What you should have is guerrilla warfare. What you should have is social media. Social media is your equalizer, and that's what the old guys are. Jared, I'm telling you, they're not paying attention. The old guys, they don't have Facebook. The bigger companies that are doing, hundreds of thousands, millions, they're lazy. They're just flat out lazy. And here's the thing. I've heard a statement like before, and you guys probably know what I'm about to say, and it's one of my go-tos. It's going to be on a shirt. It says, "You never quite own success. You can only rent it. And rent is due every single day." And the minute you get lazy, the minute you stop paying your dues and you stop paying rent, you're not going to own success. And in fact, you might see your business start to go backwards and dwindle. And so you can't get complacent. You can't ignore social media. And here's why. Because there's the Evan's Landscapes. There's the JC Tips. You said a line that Evan literally exactly said, and I was like, "Oh my God, am I like redoing this podcast?" Because like he goes, "There's times when I show up to a job and I don't know the answer. I got 80% of the puzzle piece figured out, but I'm not going to pretend to know the other 20%." You know what he says? He goes, "My power move is I don't know that answer, but I'll get right back with you. Let me go find out and let me get you the answer you're looking for." And you know what?
Exactly.
People think that's weakness, but really, you're communicating to the customer, "Look, I'm being honest. I'm hungry for it. I don't have it all figured out, but I want to earn your business. I'm fighting for your business." The other guy, like you just said, the 35-year-old guy can't even pick up the dang phone and call you back. And dude, I've lost business to people that are quick. And by the way, I've snatched up a ton of business. My attitude is if you're not calling people back or bidding same day, you're not going to get the work in 2020. It's just not going to happen. There's two. I call it velocity. If you don't have any velocity in your business, and you're lean and mean, and people are like, "Well, why don't you do contracts?" I'm like, because while you're trying to even print off your contract, I've already have 5 new customers that same day because I'm like, "Hey, we're in. This is what we do. Cut, trim, blow, $30, $32, $35. No contracts, charge card, edit file. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay, cool. Shoot me an email or shoot me a text message with your name, number, your address, and your email. I'll get this sent out to you for your charge card on file form. You're into our system. You're good to go. Hey, we'll see you Wednesday. Awesome." And then we bro pump, we bro fist, and we're out. I mean, that's 90 seconds, And anyway, I'm talking too much, but you got me all wound up, man. So
no, yeah.
But you're hitting it, dude. You're so on it, and that's why, I wanted to get you on the podcast. You're on it. What you're saying is exactly what it takes out there right now, man. So keep it going. What else you got?
Yeah, I think kind of like you said being able to answer the phone is huge. That's the biggest thing. And yeah, there's times where I look down, it's like, "Yep, don't recognize that number," and then it's like, okay, you never know what it is. You don't just assume it's a $30, $40 yard. It could be a $5,000 project. You never know. So I think you give everybody each opportunity and see where it takes you. And it's you literally never know what's going to happen when that phone rings. So always answer it as much as you can. Yeah. And like I said before, if you're you're busy, get back to them right away. Like you said, same day is preferred. But for most of us, I mean, for me, at least it's overnight by the time we're working because we're still working.
Yeah.
But I think, too, going forward, that contract that I mentioned earlier with the 5 apartment complexes, the reason I'm getting that, I got it from the company that I had it before was a bigger company, multi-million-dollar company. I'd say for sure they have several big crews and hardscaping and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Their work is just not there. They're not working on the fundamentals. And I think that's what, especially you younger guys or anybody starting out,
mm-hmm.
is focus on the fundamentals, make everything, don't make it harder than it has to be. Just do your work, get in there, get out, and, get your money and be, everybody's happy. Right. So
mm-hmm.
I think that, doing the right thing, even when no one's looking, that's big too. You think, I mean, honestly, nowadays, everybody's got those Ring doorbells, so you got to watch what you say. You can't,
mm-hmm.
Be doing whatever you want to do. You really need to be professional, polite, and on time. And I think that goes a long way with everybody. And do what you say you're going to do. Be a man of your word. Don't bite off more than you can chew. If you can't do it, you can say no to a customer. I think that's one thing that people don't,
mm-hmm.
Realize is you don't have to take everything that comes to you. Obviously, you want to do as much as you can, but I feel like, you don't need to be the guy that says, yep, because
mm-hmm.
before you know it, you're going to be in 40 different cities and you're going to be running around with a chicken running around with, yeah,
I know what you mean.
But,
we get fired up. Well, yeah,
exactly.
And you know what? My favorite word for 2019 was, Jared. Any stab out there? Take a stab. It was the
game
word.
Changer.
It was the. Well, don't say game changer. You know the joke. You know the inside joke. If anybody doesn't know and you want to know the joke, it's the official word for 2019 was game changer or disruptive innovation or next level. So if you text me, if you shoot me a DM with that, I will start chuckling in real life. And the other joke is you got to take a shot. So and I don't drink, so that can get dangerous. You know what I mean? I have a low tolerance. But anyway, and that's exactly how my thought process goes out the window. Thanks, JC. No, hold on. I have one other good thought that I wanted to ask you on. So let me ask you this: when at your age group, how many other folks, and if they're not in business and they're civilians, I get it. I totally get it. It's cool to have your phone voicemail filled up and you can't leave a message, right? Like, I can't tell you how many 17 to 25-year-olds, I mean, people in professional corporate America that work at General Motors, friends of mine, I go to call them and it goes to voicemail, but it says the person you're trying to call either A, doesn't have a voicemail that's set up yet, or B, it has no more room in their voicemail. And it sounds cool to your peers. To a business owner and to somebody in the professional world, you look like a moron. That's called unfiltered, by the way. Like, that's not cool. So I'm not hammering people. I'm just saying these are tips. These are important tips. Do you have your voicemail, Jared? Do you purge that thing regularly? Are you answering your phone? Do you get back with people, even if it's a no or no thank you, or it's a referral to somebody else, right? Because you don't want it. Do you get back with people in those capacities? I mean, shoot me straight.
No, yeah, I get back to everybody no matter what. If they don't leave a message, unfortunately, I'm not going to get back to them because you never know, telemarketers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I get calls, I'd say on average, I don't even know how many per day, but that's besides the point. You never know. Some of them could be a waste of your time, but if they leave a voicemail, I think that's them, wanting me to call them back. If they don't leave a voicemail, I feel like, you never know who it could be. So I don't bother taking the time to call them back. If there's a voicemail there, I'm calling them back.
That's what I do. Yep.
We're getting them an estimate. We're getting whatever. If they send me a text message, that's perfect. Even faster for me to respond,
mm-hmm.
And same with an email too. And I try to get, the thing is now with all these different forms of communication, to try and be everywhere at once can get hard. Obviously having a smartphone, life is 10 times easier because you can look at your text messages, your voicemails, and your emails all in a matter of 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. But yeah, being able to keep up with that can get tricky at times. And I think, answering the phone is the first step. If you can't get back to that voicemail as soon as you can on your lunch break,
mm-hmm.
at night when you're sitting down, whatever, and get back to them as soon as possible. Obviously within reason. If you get home at 10 o'clock at night, don't call that customer at 10 o'clock at night saying, yeah, we can take a look at that estimate. Well, now they don't want an estimate anymore because you just woke them up from their 2-hour nap, because they went to bed at 7.
That's
8
true.
o'clock, but
Oh, you'd be surprised too. Sometimes people call me at 10 o'clock at night and I pick up because I mean, like, sometimes I just get ornery, right? And I'm like, who's this? And like, oh, this is Brian's Lawn Maintenance. I'm like, yeah. What's and I'm like, my wife is like, what do you answer the phone for? I'm like, I don't know. And because once in a while I answer the phone. Usually it's somebody going. Usually it's like some like 14-year-old going, is this Brian's Lawn Maintenance? And I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm like, please don't call my phone, guys. Like, please, like, and I'm like, please don't call me. Please don't shoot me a text. If you want to get a hold of me, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. But please try to be respectful of the cell phone. I haven't picked up in 5 years for that reason. So, but Jared, I have a rule. My rule is anytime I'm quote unquote using the office, right? You probably know where I'm going with this. Anytime I'm in there for 20, 30 minutes and I'm using the office, I have a rule. And before I get to go on Instagram and just, do the swipe up like everybody else is doing, I clean out my voicemail. And you know what? I got to visit the office usually once a day. It's a great time for me to spend 10 minutes in there and cleaning out my voicemail, right? While I clean out everything else. That's that's disgusting and unfiltered. So anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, do work and then have fun is what I always say. And so,
exactly.
So clean up your voicemail, get back with people. It's just being a good human, for crying out loud. It's just being a good member of society. And yeah, it's a waste of 2 minutes, but you know what? You never know. This has happened to me where I've returned a phone call and said, no, this doesn't work out. You're not a client for us, whatever. And then I give them a referral to somebody else. And then they go, well, wait a minute. Well, I got you. Like, I got another property over here or a friend. And are you looking for more work? And I'm like, sure. And then it turns into a, $4,000 job like you had alluded to, So
right.
It's just being a good, decent human being. I think if you're 17 to 25, you probably didn't learn that skill set, just to be honest with you, because it's, again, culture-wise says it's cool to have a full voicemail. It's cool if you're a civilian, but when you're a business owner, you gotta play the part, man. You gotta start being a professional, and these are those little tips that really help. Well, let's do this. One thing I want to transition to, and maybe we can wrap up. We got 5 or 10 more minutes. It's already an hour, dude. It's crazy. And this is really good, man. So I really appreciate you jumping on and sharing this. This is straight fire. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about social media. 10 minutes. We talk a lot about social media on my podcast, so I don't want to, beat a dead horse, but what, as a 19-year-old kid, young businessman out there, what's JC tips on Instagram and JC's tips on YouTube? What is this whole world of doing social media and lawn care and being on YouTube? How did you get involved with that, and what made you start to want to show some of your work on social media?
Yeah, I think just kind of like you mentioned before, being able to document everything. That's kind of why I started. I've been on YouTube watching people's videos since 2013, 2014, back when Geek the Freak was around. Greg Chisholm, great guy, and learned a lot from him. Was inspired a lot by him and several other people, on YouTube and things like that. So I figured, what? I think my first video was just, push mowing some yards and things like that. And now we're up over at around 1,300 subscribers, and I do, product reviews and things like that. I'm not, trying to get anything. I don't want to, like I kind of mentioned before, is I don't want to be some big, huge, YouTube channel. Sure, that's right. Great and everything, but I've also seen, I could see for a channel like you, like the amount of time that has to be put into it. Not that I'm not willing to put the time into it, but I feel like, maybe growing my lawn care landscaping business would be a little bit more better.
100%. 100%.
So it just depends.
Yeah. So you were saying you want to document everything you got going on, and it's just a good thing to look back on. Like I didn't have that 100%. Opportunity when I was, 19, 20, 21. So I think it's super important. I think everybody should do that. I think it's really, really cool.
Exactly. And I think, Instagram, I started back in 2014, 2015, same exact thing. And Instagram, I think it's just an easier platform. You can post a picture in just a matter of seconds. YouTube, it takes a little bit longer to, edit the videos and things like that. But, there's, you just want to be a value to somebody else. And that's kind of my whole goal with it. I don't want to have all these, sponsorships and things like that. I do think it's great, but I know the amount of work that you have to put into it has got to be, just a lot. And I credit you for that. I think it's awesome, but
well, thanks, dude.
I don't know if I could do it. You know what I mean?
It's an animal. I even sometimes I wonder why. I'm just being real. It's a meat grinder of time and energy, and but it's fun. What are these? What's the old to great power comes great responsibility, right? So it's like,
right.
We have 600 videos out there now, and like I said, I just got caught up in the momentum of making videos. I still am going to make videos. I love making videos, but we were joking before I hit the record button. I've said this on many podcasts. I'm like, don't do lawn care YouTube to make money. It's you can make a couple bucks, but you're not going to make millions like David Dobrik and Logan Paul and those kind of people. Like do like hair and makeup tutorials and do family vlogging and kid unboxing channels. Like those toy channels are just insane. Like it's and if you want to do YouTube as a side hustle, great. I mean, I've kind of turned it into a business, I guess, arguably, but it was never designed that way from the beginning. We were just documenting our lives, just trying to give back, just trying to learn, dude. I wasn't even trying to preach, the first 3-4 years, and I still don't. Now I'm just like, hey, do this, don't do that, because I failed for a decade, so maybe I can give you guys some good tips along the way, what's worked and what hasn't worked. Let me ask you this.
Exactly.
How impressionable, or how much of an impression, I should say, has social media made on your actual physical business? Like, has it made you a better, I always say YouTube's a two-way street. So like I've 100% been a product of listening and learning from other people on YouTube, like you were alluding to. Has it helped you grow your actual physical traditional business, and whether it's getting customers or just different ways to look at different things in your business?
Absolutely. I'd say no doubt about it, because it's allowed me to learn things that the people around me might not even know. I think the biggest thing is learning from other people's mistakes in their businesses and things like that. And that kind of helps me, maybe I can get one step ahead because of that. And then the mistakes that I make, I can share with other people so they don't make those same mistakes. Or, whether it's just learning how to do a project that you can't do or haven't done before, and being able to do that service and provide it and show somebody else. When I started on Instagram, I never thought, same thing. It's just to document it. And as time went on, I saw, I was getting more of an audience, and as I posted more and, had more things to share, people wanted to follow along more. Follow along more, not a lawnmower. A lawnmower.
Follow along more.
Yeah.
I get you. Yep.
They, and that was cool. And I think my whole goal with everything is just to be able to inspire other people. I don't want them to, look up to me as like as a role model or anything like that, but just all I want to do is get somebody off the couch and, get them to do more with their life, get them to be more active, get them to, be the person that they can be, not the lazy person as they are being right now. You know what I mean? So and I think that, social media has helped me, learn those types of things and hopefully, kind of give back and, share what I've learned over the years. And, I feel like sometimes I get roped into it a little too much more than I should. It's like, man, I should probably not be on YouTube till 1-2 in the morning right now.
Yeah.
But YouTube recommends some good videos every once in a while. So,
this is true. I way too often am I finding myself watching How It Should Have Ended and Star Wars fan theory. I'm a big I'm just I'm watching politics. I love politics. I'm a big Politico and pretty conservative, so I love watching all the drama there. And but I totally agree. I grew up with YouTube right back when you were in kindergarten, bro. Like I've been watching YouTube since like 2005, 2007, and maybe you were in middle school, and but I never thought about creating content. That was what other people did, and
exactly.
And so, it's really weird. I love consuming YouTube. I love creating content for YouTube. I love making videos for folks. And it's just a really creative outlet. But I always tell people, like, do you have to make YouTube videos? No. Do you have to be on Instagram? No. But if you ever want to join the, lawn care community, if you will, as they say, make some posts, hang out, get to network a little bit. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised that a lot of folks are really nice, really helpful. That's always been, my experience at least. And so I always say we're all in this together, and I see that there's so much harmony with a lot of folks lately that are just trying to, help other people out and grow the industry. And, what do they say? A rising tide raises all ships. So it's really healthy. It's really, really cool out there, Look, let's do this. We're already at, an hour and 5 minutes, believe it or not, which is really, really crazy. So it just turns into a time warp. I know guys like you and me, we could probably literally talk all night. Before we go on for 2 hours here, let's probably wrap this one up. But maybe we can get a JC's tips, mid-season update or something like that. You want to maybe throw down and join back on another episode sometime later this summer. We'll get an update on your business.
That sounds great to me. Absolutely.
I like it. I think you're a really easy guy to have a conversation with, and you just got a lot going on. Hey, but before we wrap up, where can people find you? I want to make sure that folks, if they want to know more about Jared and Lawnscapes, where can they find you? What's your socials? Where you at? Where can everybody find you?
Absolutely. I do a lot of posting on Instagram, almost, at least every day. You can find me at JC's Lawn Tips is my, social media, or at Lawnscapes.LLC on Instagram, also on YouTube at JC's Lawn Tips. And I do a lot of, vlogs, product reviews, how-tos, that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to post a lot more on there when I have time. Just takes a little bit of time to get that content out there. But Instagram is the main one to follow along. Daily pictures, videos, stories, that kind of stuff. So
I love it.
Check it out.
I love it, bro. One last thing, open mic. Anything you want to share, or maybe if you're talking to the JC Tips 5 years ago, or maybe like I said earlier, some of those young guns out there that are just getting their feet wet, or they're in their first year or two. Any pearls of wisdom that you got that you think have been kind of critical, or for your success, or sticking with it, or facing the tough times? Any pieces of advice you got off the top of your head?
I'd say definitely. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. I feel like it's somebody, people say that a lot, but I feel like really, there's nothing stopping you, whatever age you're at. I don't care if you're 10 years old listening to this podcast, or 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. Age is just a number. And you can really do whatever you want, especially in America, in our day and age. Anything is possible. You really just need to be willing to put in the work. I know a lot of people my age, work is a scary four-letter word for them. And I think as long as you're willing to put in that work, it's possible. You can do it. You can make your dreams a reality. There is no secret to this, and I've learned that over the years. So stop looking for the secret. Just start working. Things happen day by day, and you're going to be able to, do whatever you want.
I like it.
I think it's doable.
What's the old one they say? The harder you work, the luckier you get. So
right.
I think guys like me and you are definitely a byproduct of that statement. That's a fact,
Exactly.
Well, cool, dude. No, I super appreciate it. I mean, I try to end the podcast in being not overly humble or overly sincere. But I say that just to say I really do appreciate you taking your time. Even a young guy like you, there's you were chomping at the bit before I hit the record button. You're like, dude, I just got this contract. I got all these pages to go through, all this other stuff. I got a lot working on, and it's a huge anchored account for you. It'll transform your business. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have an account that big. And you're like, I know. Right. And so I know you're excited, and I don't want to take your whole night from that and family and all that stuff. It's getting late here as we shoot this podcast. So I say that just to say thanks for taking time out of your day. I really respect you. I really think that you have a lot of great things going on, and it's not lip service, dude. You're a great guy for me to point to for the younger crowd. I think the next 10 years are just going to be just amazing for you in business, and I really wish you nothing but the best, man, and nothing but a great, successful 2020 season. So thanks for taking the time to join with us.
I appreciate it a lot, Brian. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been a really great opportunity. And for those of you guys that are already following Brian, definitely hop on the train, man. I've learned a lot from him over the years, and he's helped me. I can say that you've definitely contributed to the success of my company because of the stuff I've learned from you. So definitely keep up the great work, man. And looking forward to more content from you.
I appreciate that, bro. That's some really kind words as well. Thank you. I owe you $20. Here you go. So no, I was having fun. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. We're not gonna ad lib longer than we need to. If you guys enjoyed the show, do me a big favor, do me a big solid, hit that 5 stars on the review. We super appreciate it. It really helps the podcast. It really helps with it getting searched and surfaced, and the mighty algorithms, as they call it. So we appreciate the love. And guys, if you enjoy this episode, we've got another 50 or so that you guys probably have access to at this point. So definitely join with us on another episode of Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.